river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have from Warwick, Rhode Island, Mary Byrne, and she has done a lot. She is not only an author, but she's a co-founder and co-owner of Survivors Speak Rhode Island, LLC. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. First of all, where did you get the idea? Her book is Two Sides of the Mirror. What made you decide to do this?
I have to tell you the truth, Jan. I woke up at 5 o'clock one morning. The title was in my head. I laid there and I thought, but what's that about? And all these ideas came flooding into my head. I knew I had to write the book.
Yeah.
But I knew it would take me a lot of research because I really didn't know a whole lot more about racial issues than the average person does. So I had to really dig and find out, how does it affect you? What does it do? You know, are there physical effects? Are there emotional effects? And I found there were all of the above.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, I did not grow up in a neighborhood when I was a kid with children of other races. There weren't many black children. There weren't many other ethnic groups. So you kind of had to look for them.
Right.
You know.
I know that my grandchildren they're very, very little, but they live in Worcester. They're surrounded by lots of cultures, and I'm tickled to death.
It's wonderful. It's
now,
really wonderful.
This book, Two Sides of the Mirror, I had to check numerous times. Is this really a novel? It seems so real. So I'm going to just give you a quick little excerpt of this. This is an amazing book. Gregory Hastings was the ultimate bigot. Unfortunately, he was also the United States Attorney General. He spent most of his life discriminating against anyone who was not like himself because he could. He based his bias on skin color, profession, financial standing, or educational level, until suddenly the tables turned. Now, his daughter is Ellen.
Yes.
His name is Gregory.
No, excuse me, his daughter is Laura.
Nora, okay.
Laura.
Starts from the beginning without giving the end. Just give everybody an idea so they could get, really get going on this.
Well, to begin with, Laura, his daughter, has a big problem with Greg.
Yeah.
Because he has a sense of entitlement that just won't quit. He's privileged. He thinks he can do what he wants. He can say what he wants. He can insult anyone he chooses. It makes no difference. She's begged him repeatedly over the years to really give this some thought and stop abusing other people.
Right.
But he won't. So they kind of lock horns, and she gets to a point where she feels like she's had enough of Dad. She's going to turn her back on him and walk away. Yep. Because she cannot tolerate him abusing people the way he does.
Right. It's amazing he keeps his job, but it's happening. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So give us, the viewers, a little hint of how it happens from here. What is his turnaround?
His turnaround seems to be, she has a dear friend at school. Her name is Ellen, and she is from Nigeria. And this is Laura's dearest friend. So she calls home and she gets permission. Imagine she has to get permission to bring this girl home, her best friend.
Yeah.
And her mother assures her it's fine. She talks to her dad and says, I need your word that you're not going to abuse her, that everything's going to go well. She's my dearest friend, or I won't bring her home.
Right.
It's a nightmare. Yeah. It's an absolute nightmare. And she turns away from him so completely, and he's so destroyed, it sets things in motion.
And that sets it all in motion. The picture alone is a white gentleman looking in the mirror and seeing a black gentleman. And the turnaround. There was a book, not a book, but many years ago, a movie called Black Like Me. Do you remember that?
I've heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess he put makeup on to see what it would be like.
Right.
That's the only thing I've ever heard. That's why this is so timely. I love this. Also, Mary Byrne is the author of Only Children Hear Me. I love it. Jake, used to be her dog, is a friend you can talk to. What's that one about?
This is about a dog that's really born to guide children. He's a herder, but he doesn't want to herd.
Yeah.
So he can talk to children to guide them until they're grown.
Oh,
And he addresses serious illness, race, adoption, disability, bullying, and abuse. And what he's really trying to do throughout the book is to encourage children that are being hurt or that have problems, talk to a trusted adult. My hope was, in writing the book, that if we could get children into therapy at a younger age, they may not have to take that long road back that the rest of us did, that were abused. It's very hard. So that's my hope.
Mhm.
And along with the teaching manual, you can ask the children questions at the end of each chapter.
Only children hear me. Teaching manual, a guide to accompany and aid in teaching the children's chapter book. Now, inside of this, give us an idea of what have you got in here.
At the end of each chapter, there are a list of questions. Anything that the dog does or that happens, the children are asked, did that ever happen to you?
Mhm.
How did you feel? What did you do? And if an adult is working with them, or their teacher, their parent, whomever, they can often get them to talk about things without even realizing it. By saying, yes, that happened to me, I was frightened, and explain what they did or didn't do. So it's really great. And Jake has done it in such a way, Jake did it,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That he addresses race and tells kids, he said, I'm multicolored. It's like being
But he is.
multiracial.
He's like a tortoiseshell almost.
Right, he is. So he's giving them an idea of what it feels like to be a multiracial person. He's telling them it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's nothing to be
Yeah.
afraid of. I think a lot of people who have, well, I don't know how else to say it, but if you've been raised in one environment, you haven't traveled to the different things like the city. I've lived in the city. I've lived in every New England state except Vermont. Country, suburbia. Thank God, I've been exposed to all kinds of people, and I love it. My family was very open to that type of thing, and I'm grateful for that. My parents did a great job on that one.
Absolutely.
I don't think there was a prejudiced bone in their body. So people need to hear this too. It is nothing to be afraid of. If somebody's a different color of your skin or of a different religion or anything, we can't block everybody together. It's when we're back in school, if one of the kids in class acted up, the teacher, what did she do? She blames the whole class.
Right.
I never understood that, because we really didn't turn on the other kid. We just like, oh God, we've lost this privilege now. All of us.
Yeah.
You have a background that where people can relate to. You went through abuse yourself.
I did.
What was that like?
I did. It was terrifying. It was really frightening. And you don't know who you can trust, if anyone. And it's really a difficult situation to get through. And I didn't really reach out full steam ahead for therapy until I was about 35 years old.
Yeah.
And by then it had really taken root. It affects your self-esteem. I think it keeps you from doing a lot of the things you'd like to do because you feel you're not capable.
Right.
You're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't try.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because you fail before you try. Until you get into therapy. And therapy really is the answer.
Do you think that, I've heard that people say that emotional abuse, verbal emotional abuse, can be worse than physical? Do you believe that, or what do you think?
I think so. I really do.
Yeah.
I think the wounds heal a lot more easily. Not that they heal easily.
Yeah.
They don't. None of them. But when it's emotional and somebody, is just hurting you again and again repeatedly, it's very hard.
Especially
Very
like
hard.
Gregory, the Attorney General in this book, he was rigid. I mean, he was controlling and cruel and rigid. There's a Molotov cocktail for destroying your family members and anyone else around you.
Yeah.
Now, you started writing, if I read correctly, when you were a little girl in school.
I did.
Were
Yeah.
you, let me see where I find this. 8 years old. What happened?
Yeah. What happened that I wanted to
Yeah,
write?
what were you writing? What caught the teachers?
I was writing little stories.
Yeah.
I think I was writing about a lot of the things that I didn't feel that I had the courage to talk about.
Right.
So I wrote.
You wrote it. Did the teacher ever see
I
it?
wrote. I can't remember, to be honest, some things
Yeah.
that I felt that I could share.
I
But-
wonder if by high school, did the teachers then give you, the essays and reports, did they ever see any of your work by then?
No, because I was threatened, as most kids are, and I couldn't talk about it. So I would never, ever submit anything that could,
Were you the youngest, oldest, or in the middle?
oldest.
You were the oldest, so did the
Yeah.
other kids come to you for protection?
Well, I pretty much took care of my brothers a lot of the time. My mother worked a lot, and it was just the four of us.
Yeah.
So I helped them with their homework. I cooked their meals. I got them into bed. So we were pretty close. My
You're the
brothers and
hero
I.
child.
Yeah.
What do they have, the different children in the family? The hero child, the scapegoat, the mascot, and then there's another one too. I can't think of the name of it. But it seems, almost in every family, whether you're dysfunctional or not, it just seems it's somebody who is very often the firstborn, carries the flag. They're the hero, they're going to try and save. But it can shift.
Yeah.
It really can, especially in my case, two only children, miles apart in age, nothing in common except
Yeah.
parents. And two, as my father said, two very different kids. I mean, couldn't be more different. So you got out, by the time you got out of high school, Mary, did you go right to college, or what did you do?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. What did you
Yeah.
major in?
Business.
Business. So
Yeah.
you've done that also.
Yeah.
So you were the co-founder. You must have a friend or somebody you knew who co-owned the Survivor group.
Well, you know how it happened? We were part of a survivor advocacy group for Day One, which is the largest organization in Rhode Island that addresses sexual assault and domestic violence.
Yeah.
So we had a person that was like our leader. We started this group. And when she decided to leave, another girl and I became co-chairs of that group. And as time went on, we were very limited as to what we could do, where we could go, where we could speak, and we wanted to do more. So I said to her, let's start our own company.
Yeah.
And we did. We did, and it took us time.
Yeah.
But now when things were different, when we weren't in the middle of a pandemic,
Right.
we address the military. We speak to doctors. We go to colleges. Anyone, anywhere that'll listen to us, that needs to hear what we have to say. And inevitably when we go, especially to colleges, the kids will line up and they'll come up and say, it happened to me too, but I've never talked to anyone. So it gives us an opportunity to suggest therapy.
You
Take back
do you have
your
like
life.
meetings right in Rhode Island, or
Excuse me?
Where do you have the meetings for people to come?
Oh, well, not to invite the general public, we go to a group.
Oh, okay, so you
Like,
go.
we've gone to the National Guard, we've gone to the Army, we've gone to judges, we've spoken to doctors, and, that's how we take our group on the road, so to speak.
And you do speeches
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
A lady of many talents. Did you
Yeah.
choose the cover?
Yes, my granddaughter suggested that we had to have a mirror. One guy had to be looking in the mirror
Yeah.
and seeing the other.
Right.
So I talked with my publisher, and I said, this is what we have to have.
Steve Porter?
Yes.
We know Steve, yeah?
Yeah, Steve and Dawn. Dawn actually did the cover. And I asked her, did she think she could do this?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
this is what I see
Right.
happening with the cover. And she said, yeah, she thought she could. So she did. It's an incredible book, because what it's trying to do is bring people of all races together and let them meet on a different level, one they've never met on before. Let them talk about their families, their jobs, their hopes, their dreams for the future, and see how much alike we are.
Yes.
It's really only our skin color that's different. Beneath that, we're all alike.
I think you have it here that he finally realizes that we're all basically the same. Feelings. It doesn't matter what color. It doesn't matter what religion.
Right.
Feelings are there, and it can affect a kid. For years.
Yeah.
For years. Now you've been. First of all, how can they get a hold of two sides of the mirrors? How can they go to your book?
Well, it's really very easy to get, It's available on Amazon.
Mhm.
It's available on Barnes and Noble. It's available through Stillwater River
Mm-hmm.
Press,
Yeah.
the publisher in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So it's very easy to get.
Have you been to any of those huge? Oh my gosh! It was what on the Pawtucket, Stillwater. Steve Porter runs it. Huge in December's usually huge. In
Oh, the
Cranston,
book fairs
The
that
book
he
fair. It's
does.
enormous.
Yeah, I haven't been. I hope to when things open up and
Yeah,
we're no
well,
longer
prepare
living under a
yourself because
pandemic.
it is
Yeah.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
As a person coming in, I couldn't possibly meet all of the authors in that room.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I was talking with some of the authors sitting there, and I'd say, "How you doing? You feeling overwhelmed?" She goes, "Yes." And you hate to walk by a table
Yeah.
and not stop.
Yeah.
But it's very, I figure if I have enough time on my way back, I'll stop there.
Yeah.
But they're looking at you like, "See my book?" I'm like, "Oh, I love to
Yeah.
read and I want to," but sometimes the ones who have the biggest, like stand, a big picture of their book, to get attention, this type of thing.
Yeah.
I always tell my authors, I said, when you go to a fair, don't just sit there and drink wine. I had a client like that. Oh my God. They had it up in Danversport. And I went by and I looked, because I had sent her over there. A beautiful, beautiful thing, and she kind of sat there. And her book is for children. I'm thinking, get a nice big picture of draw it, whatever you want, and sign so that's right there when people are coming down your aisle.
Yeah.
And, be with it.
But you need to engage with those people.
Yes.
I've done a lot of health fairs in the past.
Yeah.
And you need to get up in the aisle and talk with them as they're walking by.
Exactly.
You can guide them to your book or converse with them about anything you like. But you can't sit there and wait for them to come to you.
No, I
because
tell
if
them-
they have the opportunity, they're going to walk by.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
tell my authors, grab your book or books. Always try to come with someone else, maybe your husband, someone to land the fort
Yeah.
while you go for just a few minutes. Hold on to your books and just kind of walk around and say, "Have you seen these?" As somebody, you don't hone in on someone else's table, but as that
Yeah.
person leaves, "Oh, have you seen these? Come over and talk to me."
Yeah.
It's sales, and it's right off the
Yeah.
seat of your pants, but it's worth it.
But I want to tell you something. Several years ago when I first wrote Only Children Hear Me,
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with a woman that was at the next table.
Mhm.
And I forget what she was there for, an organization.
Yeah.
We chatted back and forth and we were talking about sexual abuse. Finally, at the end of the conversation, she said to me, "Okay, you convinced me." I said, "Of what?" She said, "I'm going to call a therapist." She said, "I've listened to everything you've said."
It worked.
Yes, but I wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah.
We were just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Another woman came back to see me a year after she bought the book,
Mhm.
came back through the line again and said, "I just want you to know, I bought your book last year. I went to see a therapist and I've been going for the last year and it's made a tremendous difference in my life."
See?
That just made my heart feel so good to think that she's helping herself. So you never know.
Now, Mary Byrne, we're talking with Mary Byrne, and she's not only the author of Two Sides of the Mirror and Only Children Hear Me, but you have been, besides being the co-founder and co-owner of the Survivors Speak Rhode Island LLC. We've been talking about that. There's another aspect here that our friend Mary has been through, and that is you are a survivor of cancer.
Yes.
And do you give speeches about this too?
I used to when I was very involved for the 21 years I was with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Mhm.
I would do a lot of the programs that Leukemia and Lymphoma Society puts on.
Mm.
I'd speak at a lot of them. But I had to make a decision, and I kind of got to a point where I felt a lot of the other survivors could do that,
Yep.
and possibly I needed to move on and work with kids.
Mhm.
Write the book.
Yeah. I love this
So,
book.
Thank
When
you.
did you write this, Mary?
Where did I write it?
When did you write it?
When did I write it? 10 years ago, I think. But it's timeless.
Oh, yeah.
It's timeless. It really, really is. I thought I had to write a book that addressed all the things that were important for children.
Yeah.
and serious illness. I used to go out with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and we do pennies for patients. We talk to the kids and say, how many of you think cancer is contagious? The little hands that go up.
Really?
We had to find a way
Yeah.
to show them that that was not the case. So I've been able to do that in this book and explain to kids, when your friends are really seriously ill, don't abandon them.
No.
Call
Oh,
their
no.
parents, see if you can go and visit, but go and see them. Don't let them feel so alone.
It
So it
feels
was a
like
lot
the-
of things like that.
The adults too. I have a dear friend, and she is, knock on wood, she is an excellent survivor of pancreatic cancer.
Really?
This woman is, she knows who I'm talking about, courageous, and what she taught me, my husband had to go for cancer treatment. She had kept back notes of everything that would happen, making sure that, and she had those right beside her when she was at
Great.
home. But what I did for my part is, I hear you when you say don't abandon people. I brought her up a teddy bear at the hospital. I began bringing balloons, and I would go see her, because it brings me great joy. And I
Absolutely.
think she saw me happy, and
Yeah.
I sincerely hope it helped. But I don't think grown-ups are too big for a stuffed animal.
No, they're not. Especially at a time like that.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in the hospital, you guys could bring me a ton of them, and I would be plus puzzle books, drawing paper for art.
Yeah.
Very easy to please that way.
Yeah.
But, some people think, well, what am I going to do with that? I'm like, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Go back to when you were a kid. Okay,
Yeah.
You can keep your stuffed animal on your bed, and the nurses aren't going to make fun of you.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Have you got another book in the works, Mary?
No, I did do a report. It's a very lengthy report on the many stages of child abuse.
Yeah.
And it describes everything that can happen when a child is in your care or one of your own children, what to look for, what to do about it.
What are those stages, Mary?
Well, what I'm talking about is the withdrawal, the anger. You may even notice blood in their underclothing, things like that. You might see them acting out in different ways that don't look familiar. This is not the child that I know and love.
Right.
So you can kind of gently, try and see if you can get to the bottom of it. And if they won't talk to you, maybe find someone else they will. But as part of that report, I did an interview with 4 sex offender incarcerated inmates at one point before we started working there.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do what Oprah did. And I watched her videos 4 times.
Yeah.
I went and I interviewed 4 inmates for 2 hours. And they gave me a lot of information to share with parents to keep kids safe.
To keep an eye out. I've heard that fire setting can be one of the situations. Even a stuffed animal that maybe a hole has been put in the back of it. You're getting my drift.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with a boy. And you may never find out. I think boys are more, am I wrong, less interested in sharing it because it makes them think that they're weird.
Well, they're embarrassed because a lot of boys feel they should have been able to overpower the offender.
They think they're gay, and it doesn't mean that at all.
They do sometimes that too, but the problem is, even though they're this big, they see themselves as full grown. And they think they should be able to protect themselves, when in reality they can't. Thankfully, we're getting the word out. Little by little, more men are coming forward. But this report that I was telling you about is in The Many Faces of Child Abuse. I put
Where
the
can
whole
people
report.
get a hold of that, Mary?
I'm going to have to work that out.
Okay.
Because I haven't published it. I've got to look into printing it and making copies available because the report's in there too and it's very valuable. It
Definitely.
really is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you have any appearances coming up, speeches you're going to give?
Nothing booked at the moment.
Yeah.
Believe
It's hard.
Me. If they would just, open the doors, I'd be there.
I know. I tell the
Really.
authors, I say, when I send them listings of places to connect with, I say,
Yeah.
don't get discouraged. Call them anyway. Say, this is what I'd like to do. Would you like to have me come? Presentation, book signing. Let's get my name on it, on your
Yeah.
listing. I said, so when theirs opens up, you may be one of the first that gets scheduled. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah.
Really, because it's going to get better. It's going to
I know. I am talking with a couple of companies because they're doing racial diversity trainings within their own company. My feeling is we can't beat on people to change the way they think, but if we could let them read the book, bring them back to ground zero, let them meet each other on a different level, then bring them into their training, it might make a difference. So that's what I'm hoping that
I love
happens.
this. I just put only children hear me. And this was Mary's dog, and he passed away. Jake, right?
He did.
He
yes.
passed away how many years ago?
10.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
We're finding out more and more, I guess, during the pandemic. I was told, I think by the lady Kate Cote, she comes in with her cat therapy cats, that more and more people have been buying pets from the shelters and all
Oh,
to
I'm
keep them
sure.
as company during this. I think it's great.
It is.
Even if it's a guinea pig. I love guinea pigs. Did you ever have a guinea pig?
No,
Oh.
no, but I must say my daughter did.
It's so
Yeah.
funny when you open your refrigerator door. Quick, 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 quick. They know there's lettuce in there. They're great garbage disposal. If you don't finish all your salad, here you go.
That's one way to look at it, sure.
You mentioned leukemia. You were working with people about the leukemia cancer aspect. My grandmother, this is in the 60s. She might have survived it as time went by. We have much better medical care now.
Yeah.
She died only in her late 70s, or I don't know, of leukemia. And the
Right.
doctors described it at the time, why it happened so fast. Well, she had a childhood form of it.
Oh.
A pediatric. It was all new to us. We thought we were going to bring her home. Dad cleared out his den to make a bedroom for Grandma.
Yeah.
And we got the call, and she never came back.
Oh, that's
That's traumatic. I mean, you think
Yeah.
she's got 6 months? Come on back home.
You're right, though. They're making progress, thankfully.
Oh.
I'm living proof of it.
Oh,
You know,
God, yeah.
seriously.
Caretakers today need to take care of themselves. I've got a friend, I have to keep telling her, it's okay to think of yourself. If you don't do that, what good are you going to be to your husband, right? You
Or
need
to
s-
herself, either.
Yeah, what
right?
good are you going to be?
Yeah, it's
my
true.
own father passed out on his way to go see my mother in the driveway of where they lived, and
Aw.
luckily another good Samaritan found him. I don't know if he tripped, he passed out, whatever it was, and they got the ambulance to take him to the hospital. She was already there. He was going to visit her. She had a lot of problems. He got there and he was dead within weeks because he was living on that Boost. You know, the Boost stuff?
Yeah.
I walked in, I was like, talk about being,
Yeah.
traumatized. He was just sitting there, Boost over there, and I'm thinking, are you eating? He didn't act like the same man a week ago.
Oh, that's too
So
bad.
it's true. You take care of yourself. Don't be ashamed. Just like our doctors and nurses, if they don't take care of themselves, where good are we going to be?
It's
What good are
true.
we going to be?
Yeah.
So when did your book? Where did Two Sides of the Mirror come out, Mary? Was this last?
When? January.
This past January.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so people, tell us again how they can get a hold of your book.
They can get a copy on Amazon. They can get it on Barnes & Noble.
Mm-hmm.
And they can get it from Stillwater River Press.
Are you going to be giving any, when the COVID lifts, presentations and that type of thing all around?
Absolutely. Call me.
Good girl.
Text me.
Do you know where you're going? Do you have it all set
I
up?
have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, I do know that Steve and Dawn Porter are ready and waiting. They open up their bookstore.
Yeah, that's
And
one place. Yeah.
They allow you to have meetings there.
Yeah, I know. I send my
But,
authors. First of all, I ask them when they come on board, "Are you willing to travel and how far?"
Yeah.
Some will say, "Well, just Rhode Island or Massachusetts."
Yeah.
Okay. And I do the research and send them the contacts from there.
Right.
But others, all over, I'll go anywhere. I'll go all over New England. I'm like,
yeah.
good. You got a real chance of getting known the more you get out there. Not
Yeah.
just on Amazon stuff. People want to meet the author. Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely.
I love seeing that person, seeing you.
Yeah.
I
Thank you.
mean, it's not the lost art here. It's
Yeah.
cool to see the author. You need to come back. Do you think that you will have?
I would love to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd love to.
We need more people like you to do these types of books.
Yeah.
I think most people don't have any idea what our black friends and our brown friends and other different races and religions go through.
Yeah.
They really, really.
I just want
do.
an opportunity to sit and talk with them. get them all in a room.
Exactly.
You know,
I know
and
that
save
some
them.
the Asians and the Indian people, they're so peaceful, and if you walk by them, they'll say hi. But the girls with the hijab on, the Muslim, they're sweet, but they don't want to look me in the eye.
Yeah, but that's their tradition. You can't help that.
I know. But I had one friend who was, and I took her to yard sales. And
Oh, good.
she picked up things and she'd send them back home.
Really?
There was, I think, a standard there. I had her come visit me in my home, but I think probably the standard, the husband would have said, no, she can't come in our home.
Yeah.
I don't know, but she wasn't like that. Mary Byrne, what a girl. A co-author, a co-founder, an author. There will be a copy downstairs in the Upton Library of Two Sides of the Mirror. Any age group, that's getting
Any age.
Yeah. Even, have you thought of presenting in senior centers?
You and I did talk about that briefly. I hadn't thought about it, but as soon as things left, why not? Absolutely.
I'll email you. There's so many possibilities.
Okay.
Thank you for being
Sounds
with
great.
us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, we'll
It's
see
a
you
thrill.
another time.
Okay.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye-bye.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems. Moving through the cloudless sky, heading out toward the moon. I am dancing to